Hello guys, today I'm going to speak about one of my favorite topics, that is books. I love reading books and these are the books that I read in 2021. I've not included spiritual books because it requires a different mindset and I'll make a separate video of it. But I'm gonna rank and recommend all of the books that I read in 2021. I hope you enjoy this video. One of my first recommendation is When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chodron. I know it's kind of a spiritual book, but I still thought it should make this list. She is a Buddhist nun. She has given a lot of talks and discourses in the 90s, and this is a collection or snippets from that. And I absolutely loved reading this book. It has a very calming effect on you. I started to notice these changes in me. I was more mindful when I was going through my day. One biggest change which I noticed in myself was I was trying to be more non-judgmental when it came to my feelings or when I was interacting with someone, and I noticed these slight changes inside of me. So I would highly recommend this book, When Things Fall Apart. It's absolutely a fantastic read. I would give it 9 out of 10. My second recommendation is Stumbling on Happiness. It's actually not a self-help book at all, and it does not answer the question how to be happy, which you might think from the title. It actually tells you how humans are bad at predicting the future and what we think will make us happy now, and when the same situation comes in future, why we are not happy. It explains it, and it's written in a very non-traditional way. It has a very witty tone and I absolutely loved reading it. I have not finished the book, but from what I've read, I loved it, and I would give it, so far from what I've read, 8 out of 10. I still have to complete it, but solid 8 out of 10. My third recommendation is Too Soon Old, Too Late Smart. What an interesting title. This book is written by a psychiatrist, Dr. Livingstone. He has had a very unique life. He has gone through a lot of traumatic experiences, but the book is more about his interactions with his patients and what all he has learned from it. It's a book of 30 essays. It's a very simple read, but it's that kind of book that after reading one chapter, it will force you to reflect on it. It is filled with nuggets of wisdom. There are so many highlights in the book, and solid recommendation, 9 out of 10. My fourth recommendation is The Compound Effect by Tim Hardy. I read this book about a month ago. As you know, as people say that we overestimate what we can do in one day and underestimate what we can achieve in 1 year. So this book is all about that, how we can take smaller steps each day rather than trying to take a giant leap at once, which in my practice does not work. And that's why I try to maintain a schedule or a discipline that I should get certain amount of work done each day. And I also learned a lot from this. It has a lot of actionable steps. So if you're that type of person who likes that, like, okay, there's a clear to do, like you should do this, you should do that, and you will get the results if you follow it, because he speaks from experience, and I could also echo with many of the learnings from the book. So I would give this about 8 out of 10. My next recommendation is How to Live by Derek Sivers. Derek Sivers is one of my favorite authors. He's not only an author, he's a deep thinker, a new age philosopher. His thoughts are so unique and deep, and I absolutely love his work. This book is also written in a non-traditional way. It is 27 chapters, and each chapter says how you should live. For example, one chapter will start that, the only way to live is to think long term. All good things happen in long term. For example, you go to the gym, you work out, you reap benefits of this lifestyle when you're older. You have less problems. Best way to live is to work out or think long term, and you will reap the benefits. And at the end of the chapter, you're absolutely convinced that this is the way to live. That's when the next chapter comes up, which is completely contradictory. It will say the best way to live is, for example, to live in the present. This is the only moment we get. Who knows what will happen in the future? We think too much about the future, and it damages how our experience will be of this current moment, the present moment. So we should enjoy the little pleasures of life and not worry too much about the future. So it will completely contradict. This goes on for 27 chapters, and it just opens your mind to new possibilities. And I would say that this is one of the best books that I read in 2021, and I would give it a solid 10 out of 10. Please do read it. It's absolutely amazing. Books are not the only way that I try to improve my life. I also consume content in the video form, and that brings me to Skillshare, who is also the sponsor of the video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes across various genres curated by industry's best experts. I personally love using Skillshare as it helps me develop new skills and upgrade myself. Recently on Skillshare, I took the class of two people which I absolutely enjoyed. One was Simple Productivity: How to Achieve More with Less by Greg McKeown. The second class was by Thomas Frank. He's a very famous YouTuber. In his class about productivity and how he manages his workflow. So I would highly recommend these two classes. So do check it out. The most unique thing about Skillshare is that you get unlimited access to the entire library of classes which are ad-free with just a single subscription. The annual subscription of Skillshare is less than 2000 rupees a year, which is less than 166 rupees a month. Matlab socho, at just the cost of a burger or pizza, you get access to such unlimited library of classes and a chance to upgrade your skills. So please check the link which is in the description. The first 1000 users to click on that link will get absolutely 1 month free. My next recommendation is Lying by Sam Harris. This book was recommended to me by my friend Amruta. Thank you, Amruta, for recommending this book. It's absolutely amazing. He goes through this underrated or under-discussed topic about lying. For example, he shows various situations where we might lie and we don't even think about it, but what impact it has on us or the others. I'll tell you a small incident from the book. For example, you're sitting with your friends and your another friend calls you at that moment, but instead of saying that, oh, I'm with my friends, can I call you back, you would say a white lie like, oh, I'm in meeting, I'm busy. What this would do is the friends who are sitting right with you will lose a little bit of trust subconsciously because they just saw you lying and they would think that this can happen to me as well. So there are many situations like this where this topic is considered, and it's a very small book. You can read it in one go, but I would definitely recommend it. I would give it a probably 9 out of 10. My next recommendation is a book called Storyworthy. Stories has been one of the best ways to communicate since centuries, and this is an art which, if we master it, can help us in a lot of areas of our life. And on this topic, I have not found a better book. The author is actually a winner of storytelling competition, so he knows what he's speaking about. And the book is so gripping that I could not keep it down. It's filled with wisdom. I have highlighted so many passages from the book. And the art of storytelling can help you in not just your work, but let's say you're hanging out with friends to make better conversations with your partner, to have better communication, or just to live a better life. Okay, I'll not go deep into it, just buy it. I would give it 10 out of 10. My next recommendation is a book called Hyperfocus by Chris Bailey. And there's one line which is like, being productive is not about time management, but it is about attention management. And that's the book about. How to manage your attention. It's one of the scariest resources we have. How we can focus on one task, or why it's not good to multitasking. There are lots of nuggets. He has really taken this topic and gone into detail. So if you struggle with productivity or getting things done, I would definitely recommend this book. I would give it about 9 out of 10. Please go and read it. If you're looking for a book to help you write better, then I have the perfect book for you. It's called On Writing Well by William Jasner. I didn't know the subtleties to the language and the art of writing. If you have ever tried to write, you know how hard it is when you stare right into a blank piece of paper. But this book will definitely will help you become a better writer. It really goes into the core of the language, how to form sentences. By looking at me, you don't think it has helped, but trust me, it's been a wonderful read. I would give it probably 9 out of 10. My next book recommendation is Winning by Tim Grover. This is the only physical copy of the book I have which are in the list. This was gifted to me by Ashwin. Thank you so much for gifting that. It's a book by Tim Grover. He was the coach or a trainer of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. He knows what it takes to reach the peak performance an athlete requires. And when I read this book, it just connected in a very different way, because as an athlete I could resonate with what he said. And it's a book about what it takes to win at anything, be it sport, be it life, be it business, just anything. He personifies winning as a person and how he would treat You know, it's absolutely beautiful. I would give it 10 out of 10. My next recommendation is Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely. It's an old book, it's a very famous one, but I just got to reading it. It answers the questions which we might have had sometime, you know, on human behavior. Why do we pay $4 for a coffee when we used to just pay $1 for it? Why do we go for the second round of serving in buffet when we know that our stomachs are already full? You know, it's a very interesting read. I would give it 9 out of 10. My next recommendation is Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. It's a huge book, 673 pages. But the beauty of this book is that you can just open and go to any page and you would find something to read, because it's a collection or a summary or the best parts from the podcast or the interactions Tim has had with the world's best people. The best authors, writers, singers, businessmen, richest people, everything. And I would definitely give it a solid 9 out of 10. My next recommendation is Anything You Want by Derek Sivers. Yes, he makes the list again. He is one of my favorite persons, and through this book I got introduced to his writings. So this book is 40 principles which he learned when he was a CEO of a big company. He eventually sold that company and donated all that money to charity. That's a long story, but he is fantastic. I loved his take on the business principles which he has shared. And even if you're not a business person, the way he thought about things is very, very interesting. I would give it a solid 10 out of 10. My last recommendation is Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. If you're in any creative field or your field requires personal expression, then this is the book for you. If you suffer from imposter syndrome, then this is the book for you. He has shown that in the modern world, what is required to be creative, or how you can progress in the modern world with if you're into a creative profession. It's very personal. It has a very interesting style of writing, and it helped me a lot. In general, I just enjoyed reading it. It's a very small book. I would give it a 9 out of 10. Guys, this is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love to make more such videos. So if you did, please let me know in the comment section, and see you soon.